So guys, I'm just gonna jump on here now and straight away share my screen and hop on straight into the slides. I have here with me my team. I want to acknowledge Gallo sitting right in front of me, managing all the cameras. I got Nathan doing the operations this morning. So there's quite a few different things going in the background that makes all of this possible. And also I want to thank you guys for giving us this morning and spending time with us. It is very important that everything we do is extremely relevant. So Nathan is actually going to be managing the comments. I do want to hear from you. If you do have questions, comments, and so on and so forth, just go into the chat and just let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. Let Dominic know what you're thinking. I also want to acknowledge Sam. Sam Gibson is on the call. Sam is a guy who's been on the phone calling doctors. And by the way, this last series of phone calls has been incredible. Lots of conversations about frank dividends, capital gains tax, how to help kids to get into college and helping kids to getting into the property market. It's been some very good conversations. And Sam, I just want to thank you so much for giving us all the research and all the conversations in the background that makes this presentation incredible. So guys, without any further ado, welcome everyone. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here with you. And we're just going to go for it, all right? I'm Julio Delafitte. I am the founder of Medigrow, and it is a pleasure to introduce you to Dominic Barber. Dominic is not only an accountant, he's an entrepreneur, a business owner, he's a financial planner as well, and the integration processes that we're going to bring to your attention this morning is just going to be amazing. I also want to acknowledge some of the doctors that are here this morning. Adam, once again, thank you so much for being here. Hassan, so good to being able to serve you and your family. And we're going to discuss some of the strategies that we have deployed for you guys as well as the day goes through. Now, our mission, right, is to raise in real terms the financial intelligence and its applications to the medical community. That's what we're setting here to do, is to raise in real terms the financial intelligence and its application to the medical community. Now, what does that mean, financial intelligence? What are we talking about? The truth is people are flat out busy. And every year what happens is comes this time of the year, comes tax planning, and you start looking for that silver bullet. You're driving towards your accountant to have your tax planning and everything being equal. On your journey there, you're running in slightly late. Some of the documentation may be missing. There is that question or that other thing you want to know, but it's kind of rushed. And then what happens is a repeat of the year before. So the reason why we created Medigrow, it's simply this. There are doctors that are getting ahead and there are doctors that are not. It's simple as that. It is very common for us, very common for us to meet doctors in their 50s and they still have a personal mortgage on their home. And this is because the way life goes. So today we're going to cover some incredible conversations to build the foundation of your understanding. And what I meant by before writing it down what you want to get out of this presentation. For some of you may be simply tax minimization. For some of you may be simply getting ahead or paying less debt, right? I'll be interfacing with Dominic, asking him some questions as we go, and just also may tapping into Sam, say some of the insights that we have had over the last 30 years in doing this. What we want to do is to deliver incredible content for you. So what are you going to learn from me today? Is learn how to pay off your mortgage years earlier. One of the things that we hate with a passion is debt, but there's two types of debt. There's a debt you pay for, is that the other people pay for. And this distinction is incredibly important. Nonetheless, we're going to get rid of your personal debt. Whatever it is that, we're going to teach you incredible debt reductions this morning. Like get rid of debt is extremely important, right? first personal debt, and then later investment debt. Now, what we want to do is no hocus pocus, no pie in the sky stuff, right? Is how to achieve financial independence and how to build a portfolio for early retirement. Now, guys, the conversations here this morning are just for a conversation's sake. There is today in this presentation, no advice is given. Nothing that we are saying today is be taken from as a set of action without us being involved. In other words, I don't want you to get some half ideas and then just go for it and not understand completely. In other words, also ask us the questions that you need to know, right? How to minimize your tax legally. Look, we still get the conversations about loopholes. All the loopholes are gone. The ATO has the best AI in the freaking universe. It's simple as that. So even to the point where once you lodge your tax returns, they're comparing you with that data and so on. So we have created incredible software as well with AI of which you're going to have access to. What I'm trying to say here is this. If you are looking for that loophole, you're looking for the wrong thing. There are conversations in which you can minimize your tax forever. And this is what we want you to know, right? To get really present to what's possible. Not looking for little, half scam, half reality. What we want to do is to be able to do something proper, legal, again and again and again, and away we go. So what you're going to lean in is learning this morning, and we want to hear from you, is that Dominic and I have been doing this for over 30 years, and we want to give you access to that experience, right? What we want to do is to help you to build your business. You are your business. We understand often that doctors do not see themselves as businesses. We get that. But at the same time as the ATO sees you as a business, right? So if that's the case, let's make you strong. We want to help you to build a real estate portfolio and bring opportunities beyond what you're doing now. And this is where we want to take you to the edge of your thinking. And it's only through deliberation and conversations like that we can do this. So guys, good morning. For those of you that are arriving right now, welcome. My name is Julio De Lafitte. I have here on the call Dominic Baba and Sam Gibson. This is the team on the call to help you to understand better whatever it is that you want to get out of this presentation. Now, thank you for all the people that registered as well. I know it's a beautiful Saturday in most capital cities in Australia this morning, so I want to thank you again. Other things that we're going to deliver is learn to finance your projects and dreams. See, there is a switch here where you finance everything and your assets will finance other things. And this is, again, another distinction. We want to be able to teach you how to have assets that will finance your lifestyle, your kids' opportunities, and so on, right? So educate your children extremely well. Pay for the university and beyond. Sam and I were talking with a doctor that was really concerned. Get this, his last two kids, twins. So basically there was a gap in the child before, and then 7 years later, twins. And now the twins are coming into their 18th birthday, just first year university. And these guys are looking at an incredible, expensive journey. And there's a huge distinction here that I really want to bring to bear is this. Who should pay for your kids' college? Is it you or your assets? These are the kind of distinctions that are extremely important and we want to deliver this morning. And Dominic has incredible insights into that, structuring your life so that you are robust, so that you are strong, so that when things come, you are prepared. There's another thing also that we want to say is you've got to have a life. What Sam is seeing over the last 3 months, this is so common. It's freaking us out. Watch this. One of the major comments that we are taking from doctors across Australia is this, and then comes the tax bill. Yesterday, we had a client call in and say, I spoke to my accountant. You've got to hear me out. I spoke to my accountant and I owe, watch this, $130,000 for 2021. And again, another $150,000 for 2022. And I said, and you did not know that? It goes vague. Now, what we're talking about here is this. Highly competent, intelligent people that are busy. And when somebody comes along and notices that I owe all this money, it's very simple. What's actually happening is you are in business and you're not putting away enough tax to pay for the ATO when the ATO shows up and says this money is due. So when we say you got to have a life, what we want you to have is a structure that works all the time. That you have no surprises like that. Now, this is not uncommon. It does not happen every day, but yet it's not uncommon either, right? So help your kids to buy a house. We understand already that properties in Australia for the next 10 years are going to go up and up and up we go. There is right now 450,000 new Australians on the way. They're already approved. And we're going to look at some of the demographics in a sense in a moment and be able to really look at that number. So for those of you right now that have adult kids, again, we're getting lots of inquiry like that. How do we help our kids to get into life itself, right? If you and I were sitting at an airport and you to ask me, Julio, how do I get ahead? Can you summarize this conversation for me? I would say something like this. The more you invest, the less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. The less debt you have, the more you invest. Let that sink in for a moment. I spoke a moment ago about loopholes. There aren't any. They're all gone. They're all closed. But one of the things that you need to get, if you want to get ahead, is that governments in the Western world will always give you tax benefits for being an investor, right? It could be anything. You could decide to build a new clinic and invest in the new clinic. Yep, you're going to pick up some tax benefits there. You may decide to invest in shares. Yep, you're going to pick up some tax benefits. Why is that? It's because when you put a dollar that is already in your pocket, that dollar, you already pay tax on it. When you put that dollar back on the table, what actually happens is that dollar as an investment, it's going to generate a stronger economy. So for example, if you're investing in a startup or you're investing in some shares in a company, that money is used to make the company go. Not only the government is going to give you some real tax benefits, but when you don't have these conversations, when you don't understand, take a moment to understand this, you're just going to work matching your income to your expenses. So if you deliberately set out, this is very important as a concept. If you literally set out to build your asset base, and let me be very clear, to become wealthier. How do I become wealthier? By having assets under me and my structures like trust, companies, etc. If you set out to build assets, Dominic and I can sit with you and I'm going to teach you all of this morning, right? What's going to happen is if you invest, you're going to trigger some serious legal tax minimization again and again and again. And what we have noticed is people are not having this conversation before their 46th birthday. I'm going to go into the details of that in a moment. So when we have doctors showing up, they're in their 50s and they still have mortgages in their own personal home, we know these three arrows are out of line. There's no sinking in it. Guys, this is the thing about presenting. We get involved in the content of what we're saying. But at the end of the day, these concepts become values. They become what makes the structure important in your thinking. If you knew how much we talk to and this basis are not underneath. So the more you invest, less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. And if you understood the majority of people investing is an afterthought. It's like I make my income, I pay my expenses, I pay my taxes. If I have some money left over, then I'll invest. So you never trigger the sequence in the right way. And that's where this conversation is extremely, extremely important. The pain and the state of play. Of course, there's a play in words here and the state of play. I want to say to you that on the back of this, we are about to embark on the 10th and in a decade of most prosperity ever in the history of our country. And yet, for those of you that are in the know, you will understand why, and I want to deliver this. For those of you that don't understand, all you will notice is the noise and the fear and the conversations that are misplaced. So here's the conversation, the pain and the state of play. So let me just bring here what we observe, okay, that our doctors experience. They work long and hard hours. The other day, I was talking to Dr. Amir. He said to me, can I call you at 6? Sent in a text saying, I'm running 20 minutes late, no problem. Then he called and says, I'm making my notes. 6:20 in the afternoon, right? You have a greater income than the general population and never get out of the mortgage. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. This is what we observe. Have a greater income than the general population. That greater income from being a clinician, from being a doctor, from being in the medical profession, it does cause some dissonance, which we need to have a look at. Simply because there's higher income, all I do is I work a little harder. We see that all the time. And when we see doctors showing up in their 50s with a mortgage, we're going to explore that in full in a moment. For us, that is a no-no. You ought to get rid of your personal debt ASAP. And we're going to teach you a debt reduction strategy this morning that is second to none. Okay? We also understand that doctors start earning later in life. They take a longer time to study and then to do the residency, and then off they go. And then there's some catch up to do. But that income comes in thick and fast. And then there is no planning for tax minimization, investing, and debt reduction. Okay? Highly intelligent people. One of the reasons why we love working with our doctors is that once they get it, they get it. They ask lots of good questions, and once we give them the structure, they give them the thinking that they can operate and execute on their strategic positioning. So we will give you this morning a couple of case studies that are extremely relevant and important here. And we just want to make sure that we bring that home. Huge levels of inefficiencies. Dominic, do you have any comments you want to make about the levels of inefficiencies that we are seeing with the doctors, like the people that have zero tax deductions to investing? They're just coming in paying $100,000 in tax for the last 10 years. That's $1 million in tax every year. Would you like to make some comments now?
Firstly, I want to just distinguish between our reference is doctors because we're in a forum here talking to doctors. But the reality is we're all business people. So putting aside the fact that you are doctors, business people alike are all experiencing similar circumstances where limitations are becoming more prevalent, and it's harder and harder to have the tax man not have his hand in your pocket. In saying that, the doctors do get crucified in certain ways because they have other limitations around splitting income and minimizing tax in different ways. So inefficiencies can be, I guess, addressed by strategies that are outside your actual business activity. And usually the tax man tends to favor the investor because rules and regulations out there will allow you to offset certain activities that are outside your medical profession so that you can get some advantage. That's really important to understand that. So we're all business people. We all have a different psychology. We all have a different risk level. We all have a level of awareness or lack of awareness subject to who's talking to you at the moment. So, other inefficiencies aren't necessarily because of the doctors or the business people. It's the advisors around them that if they're not having these conversations with you, why aren't they having these conversations with you? Are they the best people to introduce you to areas that you previously weren't aware of that could save you money and increase your wealth outside of your day-to-day work? So inefficiencies are caused in a number of ways, and sometimes people don't even know they're in the inefficiency itself, largely because they're not having the conversations with their advisors, or their advisors aren't proactive.
Guys, this for us is insane. The amount of people kind of know things, but they don't act on it. And what actually happens is when they look at their lives, their income is good, but the inefficiency is out of charter. And I want to talk to you about that. So let's be very present that some of the stuff we're going to say, you're going to feel uncomfortable. I want to be very clear that when we go through the next slides right now, soon I'm going to ask Sam to make some comments as well in terms of what we're seeing our clients doing, our pain. What we're going to do is we need to see the pain for what they really are and then start tackling the conversations, right? So doctors are time poor, and perhaps their advisors are time poor, so the conversations are not taking place. Therefore, they find hard to invest well and access the best strategies for debt reduction. Debt has got to go. The fact that you are time poor forces you to work for 3 to 4 months a year for the government. Why? Because you have no strategy. That has got to go. That has to end. And it doesn't end overnight, but we need to start getting an approach that works. Doctors and specialists are penalized by the tax system. Let's be very clear. It's an easy source of revenue for the government. Okay, doctors and specialists often pay more tax than many small businesses, and do not have strategy for tax planning, debt reduction, and asset building. So, guys, I just want to say to you, this is the reason why we exist, and this is why we're here. Okay, so we are addressing this. So let me just say to you, my life is not very different than yours. With Sam sits with doctors. I want you to understand, we're talking about this often, that if I showed up and had a consultation with you, you take my blood pressure. We get that. You're checking for my biological system. Just that will give you so much information about me. What we notice, we take the same conversation with doctors where we're checking their financial systems. So there's a few things that regulate that system. And what we notice is this: because there is good income, and the good income is real, there is perhaps just keep working hard, and there is no noticing of the inefficiency. So we're going to go there. And I want to show you kind of what we deal with day in, day out. Okay? So let's just go do this. So if we have a brand new doctor showing up and it's just first year out, and we see now that their income is going to increase, check this out. They're gonna manage exactly to the dollar. If you make 100 grand, you spend 100 grand. If you make 200, you spend 200. You make 300, you spend 300. It's this equilibrium, and there is nothing at play but that. And you just keep upgrading your debt and upgrading your debt inside of this, right? What that does is this: once you look at your tax bill for last year and you look at your total income, I want to put in the graph to you like this. January, February, March, April, and some of May, you worked for the government. After 30 years, I want to say to you, we have some doctors that are really prospering, and I'm going to give you the how. No pun intended, or you are accumulating capital as the arrows suggested, or you are not. But when you look at when we take the blood pressure of doctors and we say this one question: how much tax did you pay last year? Hey guys, let me ask you this way. Just help me out to interact a little bit now. How much tax did you pay last year? And how much tax you're going to pay now? Right? Anyone, if you want to put in the chat box and have a conversation, some of you may not going to respond, but I want you to think about it. Those of you that respond. Now, What actually happens here is there's two common answers. I don't know and too much. These are the two most common answers. I don't know and too much. No, I'm not against tax. I understand we got hospitals, we got schools, we got roads, I'm not. But what I am against is this kind of inefficiencies happen year on and forever happening. It's just not good enough, right? For the